The 1-0. Lewis kills the ball. Way back there. His biggest big league swing. A three-run home run. 3-1. High fly ball into center. Back. Walk it off. Bellinger. Dodgers win it. Deep left field. Believe it moves. It's long gone. It's over. A walk-off for Mookie.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Humm Baby Baseball channel. This is Eric, and today we're going to preview the 2022 Los Angeles Dodgers, a team that is absolutely stacked. What else is new? If you're new here, you might notice that I'm a Giants fan, but I'm going to keep the bias to a minimum. I do this preview every year. This is my annual Is This the Best Team of All Time video. And this year, the team, as usual, looks amazing. They made a big splash in the offseason, bringing Freddie Freeman to Los Angeles. And this lineup is going to be absolutely sick. And he is added to a lineup that was already devastating, already scary, already intimidating, and one of the best lineups in baseball. Now, I think it is hands down the best lineup in baseball, maybe the best lineup ever. In fact, Jeff Passan put this tweet out. This was from a few days ago, but he said, in nearly 20 years covering baseball, not sure I've seen a better lineup than the one the Dodgers will use this season. In some order: Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner, Will Smith, Max Muncy, Cody Bellinger, Justin Turner, Chris Taylor, and AJ Pollock. We will break down that lineup deeper in a few minutes, but oh my God. Like the weakest name in that lineup, unless you count Bellinger, because you don't really know what you're going to get from Bellinger. At his worst, he's really bad. But just from a star perspective, I think that AJ Pollock might be the weakest name, maybe the ninth hitter. And he is a former All-Star, former Gold Glove winner, and he's hit over 20 home runs multiple times. So that might be the weakest name in the lineup. That's how strong this lineup is. A very powerful lineup. A lineup not to be messed with. Chris Taylor just made the All-Star team last year. He is absolutely sick. He was hitting home runs off of the Giants like it was nothing, like he was teeing up on the golf course and just pop, gone, pop, gone, pop, gone. He was pissing me off. This lineup is absolutely sick. But let's start the preview with some of the additions and subtractions for the Dodgers going into 2022. And they have lost some good players. Corey Seager has signed with the Rangers. Max Scherzer, that's a tough loss here. Max Scherzer has signed with the Mets as a free agent. You have Joe Kelly, Kenley Jansen, and Corey Knebel. Those three very strong relievers have left. And so, they've lost some good names here, and there are other names as well that could have been helpful, like Andrew Vasquez to the Blue Jays, and obviously some guys who have not yet signed, or maybe they're not going to sign, maybe they'll retire. You got Albert Pujols, Cole Hamels, and a few others. But I think that the biggest losses are definitely going to be Max Scherzer and Corey Seager, and those three bullpen arms. That doesn't help either. But to help soften the blow of losing those guys, you bring aboard Freddie Freeman on a massive 6-year deal. Chris Taylor also re-signed. Clayton Kershaw re-signed. Andrew Heaney is on board. Also Tyler Anderson. Daniel Hudson was signed. Danny Duffy. Also Kevin Pillar just recently announced he is going to be in spring training for the Dodgers, trying to make the team. Former Giants player. Great defender out there. He's got some pop. Good bat. So Kevin Pillar with a chance to make the team for the Dodgers. Also, Reyes Moronta, this could be an important player if he ends up making the team and contributing, because the Dodgers bullpen, as we'll get to, might have some issues. But another big name that could be considered a subtraction, I'm not really sure yet, is, of course, Trevor Bauer. And the elephant in the room has to be addressed here, because Trevor Bauer, they're continuing to extend his administrative leave. I have talked about it in several videos. And bottom line is, he's not going to be on this roster on opening day. And even when MLB decides whether or not to suspend him, how long to suspend him, and when that suspension is done, even if that is during the 2022 season, will the Dodgers actually run him out there? And this is not an opinion from me in this particular video. If you want my opinion, I have several videos on Bauer you can check out. But ultimately, I don't think the Dodgers are going to run him out there this year. If you want my opinion on it, I think that he's not going to pitch this year for the Dodgers. So that's another subtraction. If he does, it's not going to be anytime soon, because he's probably going to get suspended by MLB, maybe for an entire year or something, despite the fact he's already been on administrative leave for so long, and he's probably going to go ahead and appeal that. It's going to be crazy. But is he going to be on the mound helping the Dodgers win games in 2022? I don't think so. And also, Dustin May has just been placed on the 60-day IL. He's not going to be there anytime soon. But even with Bauer not pitching this year, obviously Scherzer gone, keep in mind the Dodgers will add. They will get another pitcher at the trade deadline, so just keep that in mind. And they have depth in the rotation. They have signed guys I mentioned like Tyler Anderson, but look at who's still coming back to this team. Of course, I mentioned Clayton Kershaw is back. He just turned 34 a couple days ago. He is not that old, and he is still very effective with a 10.7 per 9 strikeout ratio last season. That's 144 strikeouts in just 121.2 innings. His ERA was a little bit up at 3.55, 10-8 record, but he's still very solid. I think he's going to continue to be solid in 2022. But at the top there, Walker Buehler is back. Julio Urias is back. Urias finished 7th, which I'm surprised he didn't finish higher for the Cy Young last year. 20 wins and 3 losses. Oh my goodness, an ERA of 2.96, 195 strikeouts and 185 innings. He is absolutely legit. This is one of the best pitchers in the game. Do not forget about Julio Urias, and there's still Walker Buehler, 16-4 last year, 2.47 ERA, filthy stuff. And at just 27, he could even have a better year in 2022. He could win over 20 games for the first time in his career. And then with all the depth they have, even with Dustin May hurt right now, even without Bauer right now, even with Scherzer gone, they still have plenty of depth. Bringing Andrew Heaney on board, that's going to really help. You have Tony Gonsolin. Tony Gonsolin is a solid young pitcher. Big guy. He can really pitch. Then, of course, David Price, the veteran, coming back. Tyler Anderson, another guy. There is plenty of depth there to fill in those last 2 spots. So I think the rotation will be okay. There are also guys in this bullpen who can spot start, who have So I think the rotation is going to be fine for the Dodgers. There's also Danny Duffy, who's going to be pitching out of the bullpen, but he can do some spot starting as well because he obviously has a lot of experience starting. They have a lot of depth in the rotation, and when you have Buehler, Urias, and Kershaw at the top, and someone experienced like David Price, not sure what David Price is going to do or his role or what it's going to be, but I think there's enough depth in the rotation, enough good names there, and when you have that kind of a lineup, I think the rotation will be okay. But the bullpen is a little bit of a concern. Okay, so Blake Trinan is a beast. Blake Trinan probably going to be the closer, I'm guessing, this year. He was an absolute beast with the A's, and last year he had an ERA under 2. Strikeout machine. Brusdar Graterol, is supposed to be filthy. He can throw close to 100. Hasn't really been that dominant, but he's still pretty good. Phil Bickford showed some amazing stuff last year. Former Giants prospect Alex Vesia showed some good stuff. Garrett Clevenger is here. Danny Duffy, again, going to be doing some long relieving out of the pen. That is supposed to be his role going into the season. Justin Brule and Evan Phillips, 2 guys that the Dodgers are relying on to have pretty good seasons. Brule had a really good minor league career, quickly got promoted, pitched a little bit last year, pitched very well, but a very small sample size till he got hurt. Evan Phillips, a little bit more of a big league career, but it's never been that fantastic. So, I mean, I don't know if relying on guys like Brule and Phillips, Andre Jackson, Mitch White, Victor Gonzalez, obviously Daniel Hudson has had success in the past. We'll see what he can do for him. Darian Nunez is a really good-looking young pitcher, but I think the bullpen's got a few question marks when you lose, Joe Kelly and obviously Kenley Jansen and then Knable. That hurts. And did they really replace those 3? Or did they have enough prospects to replace those 3? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Of course, some of these guys who are not in the rotation, Tyler Anderson, for example, could end up pitching out of the bullpen. Tony Gonsolin could end up pitching out of the bullpen. We don't really know how it's going to shape up, but they have plenty of depth. And it's going to be who steps it up, who's pitching well, and they're going to have to figure it out and hope that lineup is just good enough to make up for any shortcomings the bullpen might have. And, who knows? Again, the trade deadline, potentially could sign more guys, but not a whole lot out there at this point. But I think the bullpen is definitely the weakest of the 3 when you talk about the lineup, rotation, bullpen. I think the bullpen is the weakest of those 3. But let's just get to this lineup, and let's just be honest, this lineup is absolutely sick. I mean, there's 4 guys that jump off the page that could be MVP candidates because they've either won one in the past or they have the talent to win one in the future with Betts, Turner, Freeman, and then you got to give Bellinger a bone because Bellinger's won one in the past. I don't know what he's going to do this year, but I have noticed he's kind of back and forth in his career. I'm going to start with Cody Bellinger because it's an interesting situation with this guy who makes his Major League debut in 2017. He is absolutely amazing. He hits 39 bombs, 267 average, wins the Rookie of the Year, makes the All-Star team, and then the next year, that power just kind of dropped off, and he really struggled out of the gate. If I remember right, he wasn't himself. He did play all year. He played in 162 games, but he only hit 25 home runs. His average dropped to 260. His on-base percentage dropped. His slugging went down to 470 from 581. And like, man, maybe Cody Bellinger isn't all that. A little bit of a sophomore slump, or is he just not that great? And then in 2019, boom, he wins the MVP. He drives in 115 runs, hits over 347 bombs. And you're like, this dude is the real deal Holyfield. He drops off again in 2020. He hits only 239. Hits only 12 home runs. It was a shortened season, but it was a rough year. So then you're expecting him to bounce back in 21, but instead it is just an all-time collapse. He hit only 165 with 10 bombs, and he was just really, really bad. So does he have another bounce back year in him? That's the question. Still a young guy, and he just got to figure out his swing. But if he does figure it out, oh my goodness. So Cody Bellinger is a big question mark. I don't know if he's going to come out and be terrible, get DFA'd or something. I have no clue what's going to happen with Cody Bellinger in 2022. I would predict that he's going to be better than he was in 21, but I don't think he's going to get back to his MVP self. But I do think he's going to be better, at least hit over 200. Let's just say that. But back to the rest of the lineup, dude. Mookie Betts. I think that he is my pick right now. I'm going to say it right now. He's my pick for the MVP in 2022. Mookie Betts is going to have a huge year. He won an MVP in the past in 2018. I see him being completely healthy this year, playing in over 150 games. He is going to hit over 300 this year. He's going to hit over 30 bombs this year. Going to make some sparkling plays. Mookie Betts is going to have a massive season, in my opinion. And from there, of course, Trey Turner is absolutely spectacular. Fantastic player. He's going to hit close to 30 home runs. You have Freddie Freeman, who, is just one of the best in the game. He's just such a pure hitter. He's just so good. I don't see him struggling in Los Angeles. I mean, he may take a little time to get comfortable, in the new team and everything, but I think he's gonna be fine. He's just too good of a player. There's some talk that maybe he's not gonna be that good because he wanted to sign with the Braves. I mean, he's gonna get over that. He's a pro. He's gonna get over that. If there's any regrets at all, he's gonna say, well, any regrets I'm gonna have to not think about those and just embrace this new team, embrace the city. And I think he's going to do that. And it's a shame. I wanted him to retire a Brave. And if there was anywhere else he was going to go, the last team I would have wanted him to go to is the Dodgers because I'm a Giants fan. But it just makes this team that much better. Justin Turner is back. Justin Turner's a little bit older, and at some point maybe he'll start to really decline. But I don't think this is the year yet. I think he's got at least one or two more big years left in him. Max Muncy is a machine, Giants killer. Just crushes balls into McCovey Cove like it's nothing. Will Smith is fantastic. I love Will Smith's swing. Really good catcher. Obviously, Chris Taylor's a beast. Just destroys the Giants as well. A lot of Giants killers in this lineup. Talked about Bellinger. And then A.J. Pollock, another really good player, another great hitter. Overall, this lineup is just deadly. I've never seen a lineup like this. Literally every single person in this lineup could hit over 20 home runs. And this right here, this is just some projections right here on RotoChamp. Look at these projections. And the projections tend to kind of go conservative with it. They don't usually give guys, massive seasons. There is not one player with under 20 home runs in this lineup. 31, 27, 32, 23, 31, 27, 20, 26, 23. Absolutely insane. This lineup is one of the best in the game. As far as the bench for the Dodgers, there's also a lot of good hitters coming off the bench, and they'll need that depth when there's injuries and whatnot. But Austin Barnes, another good solid catcher, longtime Dodger. Matt Beatty, a really good young player. Edwin Rios, a guy who's had some injury issues, but a lot of power. Big swing from the left side of the plate, so Edwin Rios could make an impact. Gavin Lux, really good infielder. I mean, he could just step in anytime they need him to give guys the day off. And he's also a really good hitter and has some big clutch hits last season. And then Zach McKinstry, a good outfielder here with some power as well. So, Matt Beatty also can play some outfield. There's depth there. This is just awesome, incredible. Not to mention, as usual, the Dodgers somehow have good prospects waiting in the wings. If there are injury issues or anything like that, they have some good prospects. Diego Cartaya is a top-level catcher here. He may not be ready this year, but Michael Busch is a really good hitter. He just raked last year in Double-A, and he is going to be in Triple-A this year, and probably, if they need him, he will make his Major League debut in 2022. So there are some names here, as you can see, some good-looking prospects. Andy Pages, this dude is an absolute beast. He's from Cuba. He can absolutely rake, and he can crush the ball a mile. He hit 31 home runs last year in the minor leagues, and that is in just 438 at-bats. Also maintaining a solid average of 265 and an on-base percentage of 394. OPS just under 1,000. Andrew Pages, look for this beast right here from Cuba. And also, you can see a lot of pitchers as well. Also, Miguel Vargas, a really good-looking player. So there's a freaking depth here in the minor league system as well. This is a team that is going to be freaking sick this year. And to wrap up the preview, we'll talk about a little bit of the competition that the Dodgers will face. Clearly, the Giants, my favorite team, hardcore fan, had a spectacular year last year with 107 wins. If you want to call that a freak season, I can't even really argue with you, because obviously going into the year, the Giants were expected to finish no higher than third. 107 wins. Do I expect the Giants to do that again and win 107? I just can't realistically expect that. I just not a realistic expectation. I'm just hoping that the Giants have another really good season, can maybe get close to 100 wins again, and obviously make the playoffs. With the expanded playoffs, I believe the Giants, if they don't make the playoffs, is going to be a massive disappointment. But clearly the Dodgers, with this team, with this lineup, are expected to be favorites in the West, should probably be favorites in the West. The Padres are still really good, but until they didn't even finish 500 last year, so until they really prove it on the field, the Padres are still going to be a big question mark. Rockies and Diamondbacks, despite the Rockies signing Chris Bryant, I don't think either of those teams are ready to take that step to competing with the Dodgers. So if there's one team that you got to look out for, I think it's still the Giants. I think you got to respect that 107 wins last year if you're a Dodgers fan, and don't underestimate Los Gigantes, because you underestimate, you get into big trouble. All year last year, everyone was saying, dude, they're going to fall off, they're going to fall apart, they're going to, and it never did. It never did. It's going to be a lot of fun, I know that, but if I'm just being unbiased, look, Dodgers are the favorites to win the division, no doubt about that. Are they the favorites to win the World Series, win it all? I don't know. I have some questions about the bullpen. I'm a little concerned, but if some of those young pitchers in the bullpen and some of the guys they picked up pitch well, then yeah, absolutely. Dodgers are going to be favorites again to win it all. That's my only concern, is the bullpen right now. I think the rotation will be strong enough. The lineup is absolutely sick. Probably the best overall lineup, at least power-wise, that I've ever seen. So, best of luck, Dodgers fans. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And let me know what you think. Is Trevor Bauer going to come back this year? I'm predicting he doesn't. I don't think he's going to start a game this year for the Dodgers. And not saying that's what I want or that's what I think should happen. That's just how I feel that the Dodgers are not going to run him out there. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. And please hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate all your support. Let's go. It's going to be a crazy year. We'll talk to y'all next time. See ya. Damage control, straight to the hole. I got no chance of